Well, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Hey guys, are we frozen on this camera too now? What the hell? You live cam? Frozen? Activate. There we are. We're active. Hey everybody. So what do we have in store today? What do we have in store today? Let me turn this audio down. There we go. Like the show, like the channel, hit the subscribe button, do all that stuff. Here's our title screen. Bam! Day in the life. What on earth are we doing today? Old Humble guy, what are we doing today? Well, let me tell you what we're doing today. First, I'm going to go open this door because it's a little bit stuffy in here. Gotta get that taken care of. I'm going to start running every morning. Around the block. Get some activity in my old body. So what are we going to do today? Here's what we're going to do today. This thing right here. This is a old chunk of wood from a pallet. And I'm going to take this chunk of wood from a pallet rather. I need my flathead screwdriver. Hold on a second. I need to get I need to go open this door over here so we can actually get a cross breeze going through here. I remember where my flathead screwdriver is. It was over here by my barrel. I used it on a barrel. Today, red letter day. I'm going to be using my carpentry skills. Carpentry. That is a word that I just invented. I'll be using my woodworking skills. Let me get this off my own too. I'll be using my woodworking skills to shit, that hurt. To build some flights for my samples for the distillery for our live music Friday nights. So I still have a couple of nails that are in that chunk of wood. I'm going to dig those nails out, sand it down, drill the little circle platforms that the shotties are going to sit in, and then I'm going to sand it down some more, put some finish on it, and we'll have some flights. I'm going to have 3 of them out of this chunk of wood. I believe I'll have 3 that will be useful. So let's go over to our workshop screen, shall we? There's the table on which I'll be working. We get my bag from Ace Hardware. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware men, was the commercial that they had when I was a kid. But then somewhere in the 90s, I think it was, they switched to the helpful hardware folks. This is 120 grit sandpaper. I don't need that right now. I will slide it in with this 120 grit sandpaper. But I will use it. I'll just use it later. And because this is not going to be like, this isn't, I'm not really worried about this being super high quality. I mean, it's just for flights of samples of whiskey. So it's 40 inches. So 40 divided by 3 is 30 something. But what I'm going to do, 40 divided by 3, 1, 10, 13, Give it about 13 inches, 13 1/3 inches, give or take. So if we go 13 1/4 for each one of these where I would cut it, so let's say 13 1/4 would be right about there. I'm going to get my square. And later, I'm going to trim this video and edit it so that A, it looks like I know what I'm doing. That'll take a magician's trick. Old humble guy, you don't know what you're doing. You're a buffoon. Yes, that's true. But editing is magic. So, I will use that. And in the meantime, we can chat and have our own fun here. So 13 1/4 would be right about, well actually I don't need to do that yet. What I need to do is I need to prep the wood. Okay? Is this frozen? Are we frozen? No, we're not frozen. Okay, so I need to prep this wood. And if you look, I've got some nails still in this wood here, but they've been chopped off on the other end. So I'm going to dig those out with my, what the hell did I do with my screwdriver? There it is. I'm going to dig them out with my screwdriver. And the reason I have this table, the height that this table is because it makes for easier working on this table. An easier time working on the table. And I have another little clamp that I can use somewheres. I have some proper clamps that I can use. I'm going to use the clamps. Clamps. If I can find the damn things. It's so frustrating. I can't find. Everything on my desk is so damn disorganized. I've got these clamps that might work, but I think the clamps I'm looking for are right here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Well, anyway, I'm the old humble guy, if y'all hadn't figured that out. I am the old humble guy. I own and operate this here distillery. One of the joys of operating a distillery is, well, especially a new, pretty much any new business. One of the joys of operating a new business is the little things that come up along the way. And, you know, we complain about it. You know, every day is a new little thing that we have to deal with, that type of crap. But it really is a joy to be able to stretch yourself. I mean, I could go out and buy flights, wood flights for my tastings, for my samples, if I so chose. But I get so dadgum many pallets that I can't reuse because the pallet wood is just trash. It's broken, or it's rotted, or whatever it is. It just can't be used. And this is not going to go well. Let me see if I can figure out a better way to dig this thing out. So, you know, being able to reuse the pallet wood like this, I could just cut it, I suppose. Where'd my tape measure go? Being able to reuse it like this, because that'd be 13 1/4. Nope, that's going to be right in the middle of my next one. Let me try flipping this over. And of course, I'm not a woodworker. Don't let my massive skills in working wood fool you. I'm not a woodworker by any stretch of the imagination here. But I am willing to extend myself and take a stab at doing something that I've never done before in order to do stuff. But what I was saying is, I have so much of this stuff, if I could repurpose it. Did that knock it out enough? No, it did not. Try again. That get it out? Yeah, that got it out. Okay, good. That one's dislodged. Let's see if I can get the other one dislodged. There's another metal brad in there right next to it. Looks like a staple. It'll just get sanded over, I suppose. All right, those two are knocked out. Enough. Now I've got two more down here. I'll get these guys to pop out first. Cheers to chat. If you want to support the distillery, you can go to our store, buy some merch. That's probably the best way, the easiest way to support the distillery if you're so inclined. If you want to support us directly or indirectly, you can watch our shows on Thursday nights, our live streams. I'm going to be live again tonight. Probably some philosophical discussion. Nothing heavy, something fun, I'm sure. I don't know exactly what the topic's going to be, but I'm liking the idea of talking about can money buy happiness. I don't want to do another Flat Earth. I'm getting all kinds of stupid ads for Flat Earth shows. I don't want to talk about the Flat Earth again until my suggested video feed calms down a little bit. That nonsense is just fucking hard to put up with that nonsense, because it's all nonsense. Maybe I'll do another conspiracy theories origins show like that. There's a lot of chatter, surprisingly a lot of chatter. So there's this dude, Chris Watts, who killed his family. He lives out in Colorado, I believe it was. Colorado, Utah, I think it was Colorado. He kills his family. And there's like this small little cottage industry of conspiracy theorists who insist that he didn't do it. He was set up, he was framed, somebody else did it. The story that we think we know isn't the actual story. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, dude is guilty as sin. He did it. He confessed to it. Every bit of body language tells you he did it. There's no ambiguity whatsoever. But for some reason, there's this little cottage industry of people who are defending Chris Watts. Might be because he's an attractive man. I don't know. But maybe that would be a fun one to do. The origins of the Chris Watt didn't do it conspiracy theories. Okay. So first off, the board is done. There's no nails in the board. This is left over from some pallet that I got from OI, probably. It's blue, so that means it might have been one of those blue pallets that they have at Walmart. There's a story behind those blue pallets. By the way, those blue pallets are actually rented. Walmart doesn't own those pallets. They're rented pallets. And it's a whole international shipping industry that just they own the pallets and they just move the pallets around to wherever they need to be. Very fascinating story, that, with the rented pallets. Cheers to chat. Welcome to the party. Okay, so now I'm going to get 3 pieces of wood out of this, 3 flights of wood of samples out of this piece of wood. But what I want to do, I think, is clean up the wood a little bit. It's all stained and gross, painted and stained and gross. So what I think I want to do is clean it up. At least just take off the ugliness. So I think I'm going to take my coarse sanding discs, and I'm going to sand it off and clean up the outside first, and then I'm going to cut the holes. They're going to be flights of 3 samples, because right now I have 3 samples that I can offer people: my straight whiskey, my special reserve, and my rye whiskey. But I might do it, I mean, it'll be 13 inches. That's what she said. So I might be able to do every 3, 6, 9, 12. I might go ahead and do 4, so that they'll be ready to accept a 4th sample when it comes time to do it. But I think right now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to clean up this surface, clean up this surface, clean off this surface, and clean off this surface. So get everything just cleaned off to the bare wood. And then I'm going to cut it to size, 13 1/4 inches, 13 1/4 inches, 13 1/4 inches. And then I'll drill the 4 holes for each one. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to varnish it. And that should do it. And what I'm going to do is actually cut this little bit of the video out, repackage it as a how to make whiskey flights video series, or video, post it back up on the why do I have my drill out here? What was I going to do with that? Oh, I know what I'm going to do with that. Okay, duh. Drill holes. Okay, so I need to get my cord here. It needs to go from here across to here. All right, so what we're gonna do first is clean this wood up. That is also some good advice on date nights. Clean your wood up, man. You're dirty. Don't be dirty. That was dirty. I won't do that again. Sorry about that. Who's joining me in chat? Who's there? Cheers to you. Say hi. And I will say hi back. But first things first, let's clean this thing off. almost certain that this is going to be the side that we use for the flights, the top side. This side is awfully dirty, but a little bit of work, it should clean up. That is smooth and clean. There's no, very little dirt, very little debris, very little crud. There's still a little bit of blue on the sides. You know, on second thought, I may do this side as the primary side with the flights on it, just to maintain that character of the wood. I mean, it's dirty, but that's all it is just dirt. It's uneven though. Those are all grooved in there from the wear and tear. That's not. This is a nice smooth side, so I think this is going to be the side that we actually put the flights on. Meanwhile, let me go ahead and clean these off. Honestly, if I really wanted to, I could put this on my table saw, pull a little strip off of each side, square it up. But I think I'm going to leave this with the staining on it, because that's staining inside the grain. And when I add the stain that I'm gonna when I add the stain that I'm gonna use from the wood it's gonna give it a good contrast, I think. Unless I get it off. Got a nice, this is it's like it's been beat up with a, I don't know what the hell that's been, hammer or something. Good. All right, that'll do. That'll do. There we go. Okay. So now, what we're going to do now is I'm going to section this off in 13 1/4 inch segments. Put you over there. Now, mind you, this is a distillery, not a wood shop. So I do not have the best workbench, but I have a working workbench. It does the trick. Okay, so 13 1/4 inches for each, from each end. And I'm using a pin to mark it off. 13 1/4 inches from each end should give me a centerpiece that is 13 1/2 inches, give or take. 13 1/4. That means in between should be, yeah, real close to 13 1/2, just under 13 1/2 as a matter of fact, which is perfect. So tomorrow I'm going to get back to finishing with these bottles, getting the labels on them, getting them boxed up, hopefully by the end of the week. But today priority is getting everything ready for the Friday night live at Old Humble series that we're starting this weekend on Friday night. Now the next thing I want to do, so I'm not going to cut this first. I'm going to go ahead and cut the holes in each one. I'm going to put them 3 inches apart on center. So I need to draw the center line for this. And this is 3 and... It's not a perfect 3.5 or 3 1/4. It's a 1, 2, 3. Looks like 3/8. Of course, it's 3/8. 3 3/8. Of course. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be a reasonable number, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center line. I'm really just going to estimate it. So let's call it close to 3.5, which would make it 1 3/4. But it's not quite 3.5, so yeah, we'll just do that. I'm going to clamp it down. One end, can I do it with those clamps? Of course I can't do it with those clamps. Got to use these clamps. And if I had a proper woodworking shop, I would have a proper woodworking table with built-in clampies and all the other cool stuff that proper woodworking tables have. But I don't have a woodworking shop. I have a distillery in which I sometimes have to do woodworking. Which isn't that big of a deal, really. It's a minor distinction sometimes, one type of shop to the other. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1 3/4, give or take. So they don't have to be perfectly centered. I want them to be mostly centered. But I'm going to draw this center line down the piece of wood. To about where I want these holes to be drilled. And they're not going to be full-size holes either. They're not going to go all the way through the wood. They're going to go... I'm just going to drill them about the base, the size of the base of my shot glass there. And I just want to put enough space down in it, you know, to give it a little bit of an indentation. So I'm not even... Actually, I may not even use this paddle. Yeah, well, I'll use this paddle. But just enough to get in there. There'll be a little hole in the bottom, but to gouge it out a little bit. You know what, I should test this on a piece of wood that I don't mind losing. How deep that hole is going to go, like for real. Because I may not be able to use this wood after all. Find a real piece of scrap that I'm not going to be able to use for anything else. This will do. Alright. Let's see what'll happen. Because if I'm worried about going all the way through and into my table, so I may need to just go ahead and prop this up on a piece of wood anyway. But let's see. Let's see what'll happen. See, that's what I kind of want. But that's not going to be wide enough. That's kind of what I want. But I need it to be a little wider. Maybe this one will do the trick. I know I could have measured the base, but shut up. See, that hole in the middle is almost certainly going to go. Now, that's the perfect size for a shotty, too. Hello, shotty. Surprise, shotty. All right, so what I'm going to do now is get another piece of wood to put underneath it. Because that hole is going to go through the wood. This wood right here. This'll do. See, I've got a lot of scrap pieces of pallet laying around the distillery. That's why this is such a great project to reuse the pallets on. Because I can get 3 flights out of a single stick of wood. This piece of wood is not particularly good, for building the pallets on, because this wood is got a bunch of cracks in the middle, so I can't use this one. But I can use it as a backing for my drill. If this works, I'm not 100% certain it's going to work. I'm not sure it's going to look particularly good. There's definitely going to be a hole in the wood. This isn't. We're going to have a little hole there. But I guess that's okay if you're doing flights to have a little hole in it, because if the whiskey spills, you want it to go through, right? You know, for this first batch, I think I'll be okay with it. Alternatively, we just do 2x4s or 1x4s. Do I have 1x4s over here? I have 2x, 2x4s, 2x4s. Put a flight on a 2x4? That's just too thick for a flight of whiskey, though. This will be okay. I'll be okay with this. For the first batch, at least. I'll be okay with the first batch like this. We'll do fine. It'll be fine. It will be fine. Okay, so let's clamp this bad boy down. What happened to my big clamp? There it is. Clamp you down here and here. Again, I've done this before, and y'all may not have picked up on it right away, but I am not what you call a craftsman or a woodworker. I kind of make it up as I go along. Surprise! But let's see, a 13 divided by 4. 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. Right? Yeah, so 3, 6, 9, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. I'll put it right up at the edge. 9, 6, yeah, okay, let's start. I should probably make the marks, yeah? 12, 9, 6, 3, and again here, 3, 6, 9, 12, and then again, 3, 6, 9, 12. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm not exactly what you would call a woodworker. Glory to Tuna Empire. What's up, my main man, Tuna? Today we're making whiskey flights. Which will be, theoretically at least, for sale once I get my logo on them. But the flights themselves will go $5 for the sample flight. If you want a full flight, I mean, a full flight is like 3 shots. So, you know, it's like limit 1 per customer, that sort of thing. And that's like 20 bucks. But you get 3 shots out of it, so there's that. These, yeah, that's good. That's good, 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 good. All right, I'm liking it. Yeah, I like it, Picasso. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to sand these down one more time. Smooth out the edges. Good. Booyah! Beautiful. That is bumpy there. All right. And tomorrow I will get back to bottling and, you know, whiskey work. But today I've got a tasting at 5 o'clock on here in town. Supporting the launch of our rye, so I don't want to screw that up. How dumb would it be if I like drilled a hole in my hand live? I also, I said earlier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this bit of the video out, and I'm going to edit it down so that you'll be able to see. I'll post up a how to make a whiskey flights video, including the part where I put the logo on the wood after I varnish it. I believe I'll be doing an acetone transfer, something I have never successfully done, but should be fun to do. What about putting the holes in the... Well, I don't want to put the holes in the table, which is why I had this piece of wood under it. So these holes actually do go all the way through. You can see the holes do kind of go all the way through, and I figured that was okay, at least for this batch of... I'm only going to do 3 for this initial run, but I didn't want to put holes in my table, which is why I had that behind it. So, and this wood is scrap wood from a pallet. I literally just yanked this off of a pallet that we got in. It was a trash pallet. I can't use the pallet for actual bottles or boxes or anything like that. So I pulled this one board off, got the nails out, and now I'm going to trim this board down to size. And as I prepare the power tool, it is a reminder to everybody that I am not a woodworker, I am not a carpenter, I am a distiller. So yeah, I'm not doing this with proper anything. Get off my back. I'm not gonna kill myself. Do not do this at home, I think is the proper way to phrase what I'm trying to say. Don't do it at home. Don't do it at your friend's house. Use proper safety gear. I do have glasses on, which work as protection. I'm such a baboon sometimes. Smooth like butter. And I would be using my miter saw to just make these quick chops, my chop saw. But my chop saw is currently at home doing work for our floor, because we're installing a wood floor where our carpets got destroyed. So, I'm not using the chop saw today. I'm using my plain old table saw, or circular saw. Now, we've got 1, 2, 3 flights, 3 wood flights. Let's sand off these edges real quick. What you got there for me, Tuna? We're putting in some landwood that's been heated, released, the smoky flavor benefit compared. Into a barrel, into a bottle. The answer to your question, Tuna, if I understand your question correctly, is yes. You don't want to put in just regular plain old wood to your barrels or your bottles if you're aging wood. If you're aging your whiskey, you don't want to use plain old wood. You want to use wood that's been heated, charred, cooked a little bit, because that releases the sugars out of the wood that is in there. Now what this is, what I'm doing here, this isn't going inside of a barrel or anything like that. This is just putting shot glasses to give people samples. And a couple of these weren't deep enough, so I'm cutting them a little bit deeper. Come on. Giving them a little bit deeper score. So they'll hold the bottles a little bit, or the glasses a little bit more. Just a little bit. And this would be better with a bench drill press, but I don't have one of those. So I make do with what I've got, which is simply my arm. Good now? All right, I got it. There, yeah, I got it. And one more. There we go. All right, I feel comfortable with that. Interactive table. No, yeah, I didn't want to put the holes in the actual table for many reasons. I've spent a lot of time and energy on this table. Now all I'm trying to do, sand out the marks, my pin marks, and cut marks on the surface here. Go. So, well, there's a little bit there too. That'll do. So yeah, there we go. We got 1, 2, 3 boards with good character. This one a little bit more character here. There we go. That has a knot in it. And it's a sappy knot too. You can see it's juicy. All right. Now we move up the sanding chain. So I go from my coarse grit here. Do one more hit with the coarse grit. Alright, now we take this off. Now I move up from 60 to 80 grit sandpaper to give it a little bit more fine polish. That is not the recommended use of an orbital sander. Again, not a carpenter, distiller. If you have issues with that, you can call my mom. She will likely be here on Saturday. You can yell at her for bringing me up wrong. All right. That is the medium grit. And I'm actually going to put that back in there because it can be used again. It is not worn out. This one, on the other hand, is wore the fuck out. I ain't going to use that one again. Now for my 120 grit. This is the one that's going to do the final prepping of the boards for their for the finish to go onto it. It's going to close up. I believe what happens, and you can, any woodworkers can correct me. What I believe will happen, or what goes on, is the pores in the wood close up, so the finish doesn't soak in as deeply. All right, now for the final one. All right. I'm going to do one quick touch into these holes with the coarse sandpaper here to smooth them out a little bit. But I think we're pretty much done. Now check this out. What I did with the sanding paper. Hey, Shark Homebrewing. So what I did is I kind of rounded off the edges here on top. It's nice and smooth. There's no chips. There's no nicks. There's no... nice and smooth, nice and even. Where's my finish? My wood finish. That's some of my wood finish. Where's the rest of my wood finish? There it is. So my wood finish is aged barrel oak, the same wood finish that we use for our tables. And it shouldn't take much to put a coat of finish on these guys here, because they're not very big. Famous last words, I know, but I mean, really they aren't. So it really shouldn't take much, and it's good because I don't have much, but I last used this brush for shellac, and I don't think I cleaned it out all the way. So if you haven't figured it out, Shark, what we're doing is, this will do. I'm making flight boards for my whiskey samples that I'll be handing out, selling, transitioning my tasting room into an actual tasting room and not just an exhibition hall. So when people come in and they want samples, I won't just pour samples. It'll be $5 for the sample for the whole batch. All right. Now let's do this. I should probably be wearing gloves. Actually, I don't even need a damn brush for this, do I? I should just wipe it on with a rag to give it that good, get everything nice and smooth and even in the holes. I should be doing good YouTubing here and actually have this on screen so you can see what we're doing. I should be wearing gloves so that my fingers don't get stained. And I'm going to be handing out, I'm going to be doing tastings later today. And I don't want my hands to look gross while I'm handing people their drinks. Speaking of which, what time is it? 2:11. I got another hour or so before I have to get out of here. Good. Okay. So back to the action. That over there. This isn't a particularly dark stain. The stain is called aged barrels, and it gives the same color. It's the same color we used on our tables. There's that. Looks nice. It's the same color we used on our tables. The same finish, the same stain. So we kind of have a theme in the house between our barrels and our tables and our sample boards. But I may do some different finishes on the different boards that we use. I may do some deep mahogany or red oak or different stains just to get a little variety in the party. I will be on later tonight doing another happy hour. but I do not yet know what the topic is going to be. If you got any ideas, I'm all ears. Let me know. Our Tuesday nights are usually dumb nonsense nights. Or today's Wednesday night. Or Wednesday nights are usually dumb nonsense nights. So, I just don't want to do another flat earth like I did last week. I'll let the round earth observation show go for another week before I come back to it. And that legit wrecks my search page for a spell when I put out a show like that. YouTube thinks, oh, you think the Earth's flat, huh? Well, here's some other dumb nonsense like aliens and shit. Aliens built the pyramids and I don't need to hear it. I really don't. And not that I'm not open to other ideas, alternative ideas. I am. I'm open to all kinds of interesting things. As long as it's like a real interesting thing. Did you know? Sort of stuff. I'm down. Hit me with some interesting factoids. But don't hit me with bullshit and nonsense. I mean, come on. I'm not... The danger of having an open mind is if it's too open, garbage can fall into it. You've always got to be mindful of that. It's like a trash can. You want it to be open, but if it's open for too much, if it's too open, then all kinds of shit falls into it. Possums and raccoons and bears, and it just makes a mess. You gotta even if your mind's a dumpster fire, you gotta be cautious of what you let into your dumpster fire. Now it's gonna take about 2 hours for this stuff to dry. And that's fine, because I'll be done for a while. I don't have anything else to do while this dries. I don't, it's not taking up space or time. It's not like it needs to get finished so that we can use them. I don't have to use them till Friday. But that's a nice finish to these boards. Put you there. Look at that. Now, they're not quite finished. I may hit them one more time with another layer of the polyurethane finish. May hit them with another layer to make sure they're good and done. But they're very close to finished. They look good. This is about what they're going to look like. Very similar to our tables, which was the intent. Going to put another quick coat here on the top with all three of them together. Make sure it gets down into that exposed wood and the holes and everything. Then wipe off the excess. And then, tonight, I'm going to explore how to do an acetone transfer onto wood so that I can put my logo on here somewhere. Probably up here at the top where I have this extra section right there. Put my logo there. And then, if people are so inclined, they can actually buy the flight that goes with the flight that they bought. And every board is unique because every board comes from a different section of the pallet. You know, what with it being handmade and all. Get you in there. Okay. And that, my friends, as they say, is that. This one I think I like the best because it has that knot in the middle. There we go with this one too. All right, now let me close up my pieces over here, put away my toys and tools. I really probably should just throw this rag away. Alright, this one can be thrown in the trash. I'm not going to reuse this rag, boys and girls. It's gone forever. Whoosh. Now, as I said earlier, what I'm going to end up doing is taking that video, this live video, cutting out the portion where I make the flights, editing it down to about a 15-minute video, give or take, adding in the part where we put on the logo for them. Oh, crap. Adding in the part where we put on the logo, and then putting out a whole standalone video for this thing. Because I think that would be neat. How the hell did I have this in here? Like that? Yeah. Nope. That's what I had in here. Beautiful. Now, it's very important to put away your toys when you're done with them, boys and girls. That way you can always find them when you're ready to use them next. Says the guy who can never find a pin, a tape measure, a screwdriver. I'm so scatterbrained and disorganized sometimes. All right. Any questions about what we did and what we're doing? Yeah. All right. other container of oil. I need a set of shelves back here too. Need all kinds of stuff in this place. Need all kinds of stuff up in this place. Speed square, tape measure, clamp, clamps. Paddle bit. I don't know what the hell are these things called? I always called them paddle bits. I don't know what they're called though. What the proper name for them is, because it looks like a paddle, which is why I call them paddle bits. That may be the proper name for them. I don't know. See, this even works for our plastic shot glasses if we want to do the plastic ones. I need to get more glass ones, but I think in the early days we're just going to do the plastic shotties. Plastic shotties! Ooh. All right. Clamps, speed square, tape measure. All this stuff goes over here. Speed square goes there. With the tape measure. Clamps go in there. Paddles. Clamp. 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 Crowbar and screwdriver go in the toolkit proper, as does the hammer. Hammer time. That looks pretty nice. I'm gonna take a picture of that. Gonna go with flights are ready for departure. Flights are ready for departure. So sample flights are $5 during our Friday night live music series. So we'll have three. We'll have our straight whiskey, special reserve, rye whiskey, and they'll all be the sample size. So it'll be about an ounce, quarter ounce, $5. You basically get one shot worth of liquor out of it, and then we'll throw in an extra something that we've got, whether it's barrel proof or barrel proof rye or the vodka. Probably the vodka. We'll throw in the vodka for the flights there. Whoops, I turned off the show, so I can't read chat. Oh no, whatever will I do? Okay, and then next, what else do we got to do? I think we're done. It's 2:30. I've got to go home, clean up, get dressed. Flights ready for departure from Old Humble. All right, but yeah, if you want full shots of something, if you want the full shots, 3 full shots, that's that'd be $20. You get 3 full shots of whiskey for $20. Pretty fucking good if you ask me. But there will be a limit of 1 per person, because I cannot overpour you. I cannot give you 3 shots an hour. 3 shots an hour might kill you. But, you know, for people who want to sit down and do a sampler of all the whiskey that we've got, that's a great way to do it. 3 shots for $20. Line them up, baby. And it's probably not entirely legal to serve 1 person 3 drinks simultaneously. But, you know, it's a sample plate, so I'll be okay with that. I'll stop doing it if they tell me I can't. But it's also very important not to overpour people while they're here, because they still have to get home somehow. And we might do it where you can only get a full flight if you have 2 people in your party, or you stay for 2 hours. The 3 is not enough, generally speaking. You metabolize 1 drink per hour, and the level of intoxication is usually 3 in 1 hour. But over that course of the hour, you metabolize 1 of them. So a net of 3, not a net of 2. So if you get 3 in 1 hour, you are netting 2, because in the 1 hour you metabolize the first drink. If I'm not mistaken how the math works, that's for your average person. That's, of course, not for everybody, and for smaller people and larger people, it's different. But that's kind of how the bartender math goes. Let's go over here to the other camera, shall we? We shall. We shall. All right, kids. It is 2:30. It is about time for me to wrap this up and head to La Casa, because I have a tasting tonight from 5 to 8 in Kingwood, Texas, which is really just around the corner from where I'm at. And I need to clean up a little bit, get the smell of varnish off me. Tomorrow, I'll be back to do the rest of my bottles. Begin the filtration for the next batch of straight whiskey, transferring from barrel to barrel to get those done. I have another 16 or so cases to do, to fill and label and do all the stuff with. Tonight, catch me tonight on the happy hour live. We're going to be, I don't know what we're going to be discussing, but it's 10 p.m. as usual. 10 p.m. happy hour. Maybe I'll pop on a chat and sip window, and we can just have a little chat and sip for a couple hours. Maybe between now and then I will have come up with a topic to discuss. You'd think it would be easy to come up with topics, but I'm not exactly plugged into current events. I'm not exactly, I mean, my hobbies are baseball and whiskey. That's pretty much it. And I don't fanatically follow the nuances of baseball. I just watch the games. I enjoy watching the games. I love watching the games. It's the most perfect sport in the entire universe. It's geometrical and mathematical and just absolutely fantastically gorgeous. But that's just me being a nerd about baseball. Hey, tell your friends, subscribe, notification, all that stuff. Appreciate the support. Join me another time. We'll see you soon. I don't have a glass to. Let's have a parting shot, shall we? Ooh, full of sawdust. Otherwise, it's clean. Parting shots. Pour your drink. Coke, water, soda. I've got rye whiskey here. Ah, oh, that sawdust went right back into my eyes. Be awesome to each other. May the ground ever rise up to meet your feet in all your journeys, and the wind always be at your back. Cheers, Shlante. Slava Ukraini.